Hello everyone, and welcome to batch 218 in the freeze dryer. So what does that look like? Well, you already know by the title what it is, but it just looks like ground meat. So if you were to freeze dry ground meat, thawed, and I mean raw, this is what it would look like. Each tray had 2.5 pounds of Titan number 27 fine grind dog food. So just in case you don't know what that is, well, we're raw feeders. We just, with this batch of puppies, I shouldn't say batch, we adopted 2 puppies. We went raw with their feeding. We've had a lot of issues with kibble in the past, and we're one of those people who have separately, I know another person who separately fed their dog Purina Beneful, and around the same time both of our dogs passed, and there was no reason. And it's a really long story, and I really don't want to get into that right now but if you're interested in that at all, and if you feed Purina Beneful, I'm not saying anything for sure. I'm just saying, there are Facebook groups called Is Purina Beneful Killing Your Dog? And you might want to look into that. Okay, that's it. And I'm sure I'm going to get thumbs down just because of that. But anyway, that's okay. It's still an interaction, right? Anyway, we did 10 pounds of raw dog food because in an earlier video I told you we ordered 400 pounds with the intention of making March freeze-dried dog food month. And if I'd have known what was coming, I probably wouldn't have done it like that, but we still, needed to prep for our dogs. And then when we got there, we actually picked up an extra 10 pounds of just ground chicken. And I did that first. I freeze-dried that already. And here's the notes on this raw dog food. Which, by the way, I don't think I mentioned. This raw dog food is a complete balanced blend. It has omega-3s in it. It has a lot of other things in it. There's no need to add anything to this dog food. So I started this on the 16th of March, and I believe today's the 18th or the 19th. I did a 9-hour freeze, 24-hour dry. So that was added time. Normally the cycle is 9-hour freeze, 7-hour dry. I add time always, and my grandson was here because he hasn't had school for a while, and so I just added the time, knowing that I could subtract it later. I just didn't want the machine to stop while I wasn't near it. So there's the notes. So far I've only done 2 trays and 2.5 pounds of dog food that required to be kept frozen was freeze-dried, which no longer needs to be frozen, so it takes up less space in the freezer, less electricity. It now weighs 397 grams and 292 grams, which is about 150 grams a pound for that. So that's one super benefit to freeze-drying, especially if you have to move your preps. And right there, this batch it ran for 70 hours and 55 minutes. Of that, 17 hours and 5 minutes was added time. So the freeze dryer, based on the 9-hour freeze and 24-hour dry cycle, only needed to be running for 53 hours and 50 minutes. But then again, since I added time to the freeze cycle, it needed only 7, and I jumped that up to 24. That 53-hour and 50-minute total cycle really only needed to be 36 hours and 50 minutes. I just have to do a lot of homework these days and homeschooling that I haven't really had to do. So that's what we did. And then I'm taking that. Okay, I'm wearing gloves. So I can't push the pause button on my phone. It just totally shrinks the whole video. I don't know how that works, but so we're taking the raw Titan dog food and we're storing it in these 2-quart bags. that I write on. It's Titan 27 blend. 27 means it's a fine grind, and it's a beef, chicken, turkey blend. And the other one I use is another fine grind. I don't use the coarse grind anymore because the little dog can't get that. And I've found some big bone chunks that are about the size of a dime, and I don't want the dogs to be gulping those. I don't think they would hurt them. I'm just not taking a risk. I mean, I give them full leg quarters, chicken leg quarters, and so I guess I take that risk, but especially for the little dog. And I prefer, since I'm freeze drying it, I don't want a freeze dried bone. I don't know what the effect of that would be. So the canine on there means that this is for the dog. And then, of course, there's the date. But then I haven't really labeled them yet, you know, for the 1 pound. But that's it. That's how we're doing that. And I can tell you one thing, that if you were to look through these other freeze-dried notes that I have and look at the time, I have done more freeze-drying during this month and even last month. I've done more freeze drying than I have since I got the freeze dryer. So self-quarantining and social distancing has really benefited us in that regard. Not in the regard of wanting to see people. And my sister came to visit today, and she just was dropping something off and picking something else up. We did a little family barter, but she stayed out on my exterior porch outside, and we stayed, you know, 6 to 8 feet apart, and we gave virtual hugs. It was really funny. But anyway, she said, I told her that I was actually purging a lot of things that I don't need. I ripped up carpet. Well, my husband ripped it up in the closet, but I was able to clean some of that stuff out of there. And my truck bed is filled up with things we're getting rid of and things we just no longer need. We're doing things that we had been putting off. So now that we're home all this time, we're able to get those done. And she said that her basement was pretty well spotless now. So we are in these scary times attempting to turn a negative into a positive, and that's about it. So I digress all the time, you know that. And if I can, I'm going to append to the end of this video one of the dogs resting. It's really funny, and well, we think it's funny. But anyway, that's it. That's batch 218 in the freeze dryer. And I probably really won't be showing you any more freeze dryer batches for a few days, because I still have a couple more loads of the same thing to put through, and I don't want to totally bore you. So that's it. Let me know in the comments how you're managing through your self-quarantining, if that's what you're doing. And if you're not, tell me why you're not. And let me know in the comments, what did you prep today? Be blessed, all. Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me?
Bah!